Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Time to Draw with Mr. Shaw. This time around we're going to be drawing one of my favorite superheroes from the Marvel Universe, Spider-Man. I'm going to show you some cool tricks to draw Spider-Man in a very standard Spider-Man pose. As always, you just need a piece of paper, something to draw on, and a pencil, a crayon, a marker, something to draw with. Try to keep up as best you can, but if you get lost, if you get stuck, feel free to pause the video, stop, rewind it, try it again. That's what erasers are for. If you have a lot of paper at home, feel free to flip it over, try again on the back. You can even practice drawing it a bunch of different times on the same side of your paper. So let's get started with some simple shapes to start making our friend Peter Parker, the amazing Spider-Man, into a picture on our paper here. So I'm going to start out with an oval. This is going to be Spider-Man's head. I like to draw my shapes in very lightly first and then get darker as I go along. So I'm going to give it a nice oval shape just like this. Now inside of that oval shape, we're going to draw some mathematical symbols, a greater than sign and a less than sign. We don't want them to quite touch. It's going to look like two straight lines at an angle here, and then another set going in this direction. It would be greater than, less than. But on the edges of those, you're going to draw a curve to connect those two ends. And there you can see Spider-Man's eyes, the shape on his mask. Then we're going to start drawing his body. On either side of his head, lightly draw in a circle on both sides. These are going to be his shoulders. Spider-Man's shoulders are covered in a web pattern, which we'll do later, but we're going to draw those in now. Then we're going to draw the middle part of his arm, where his bicep and tricep are, coming down kind of towards each other as two ovals. So right here and right here, two light ovals coming towards each other. And then we're going to draw another set of smaller, pointier ovals coming together and touching just a little ways below Spider-Man's head. Now in the place where those have touched, you can see those are his two arms. We're going to draw his hands as two bumps with fingers. See how I just kind of curve this line around? And then I'm going to curve this around and make a little thumb. It's almost like two little bumps here and here. And then I'll make kind of a little spider fist for Spider-Man to hold his web with. If you want, go ahead and draw that web now. Just a straight line coming out from Spider-Man's hands. And Spider-Man's webs in the comics always have these little tied up webby sticky sections. I like to just do little lines, 2 or 3 lines at a time, just to make it look a little bit more like Spider-Man's web. Now we're going to come back up to his body. We're actually going to draw his legs coming out from behind his body. It's almost like he's crouched over. So I'm just going to draw a big curved line coming out about halfway through the middle part of his arm, coming to halfway down to the lower part of his arm, his forearm. And just make that nice big curve. And that's actually going to be his knee right here. So if you'd like to draw in just a little angle like that to make it look like his knee, and then do the same thing on the other side. A nice long curved line, curving from this part of the arm all the way back to this part, and then a little bump here for his knee. Now, inside here where his body is crouched over, we're going to draw a curved line. That's where his little spider belt is. And we're actually going to draw his spider logo, which is just a black circle and then a black oval. Because in reality, spiders actually have 2 body parts, unlike an insect, which has 3 body parts. And then I'm going to draw his 8 legs coming out from that. So I'm going to draw 2 lines coming out diagonally from the sides and then up under Spider-Man's head. 2 more coming straight out from the sides. 2 more down here. And then 2 more pointed down diagonally. So now we have his spider logo, we have his legs, his arms. Now we need Spider-Man's web pattern. Now, the first place to start that, we're going to start on the head. And in between Spider-Man's 2 eyes, we're just going to draw almost like a little circle here. And all of the web lines are going to extend from that circle. So we're going to draw some straight lines coming out from that circle. Now where they would go through the eye, I'm just going to pretend I'm drawing it, and I'm going to continue that line on the other side. It's going to come out like this, all the way around. I'm going to put little ones in there. Now, one thing that I've heard from artists who draw Spider-Man a lot is don't cheat on the webs. Like, you really want to slow down and try to do this as best you can. What we're going to do is just little curved lines that curve in between those straight lines you just drew. Just little tiny curved lines. Let me see if I can bring this a little closer so you can see what those look like. They're just little curved lines in between each of those webs. Now, you could do it quickly and just kind of scribble your way through, but I really like to kind of slow down, get those curves in, and it's going to make his mask look a little bit better, a little bit more professional, like a classic Marvel comic book artist would have drawn it. And that's a pretty good mask. Now, he has that same pattern in a couple of other spots. He has them on his arms here. So I'm going to draw a couple of curved lines coming down. And then I'm going to follow that web pattern all the way through. I don't want to go too fast. And I'll do it again here. And then down here on his gloves. So going from his elbow down to his hands, I'm going to draw some straight lines coming down like this and like this with that web pattern. And then I'm going to just draw straight lines going all the way around his fingers and his hands. Now, this is a pretty good Spider-Man, but here's what makes it really cool. It's not actually supposed to be looked at like this. Turn your paper all the way around, and now it's Spider-Man dangling from the side of a building, hanging off his little web here. Now, you could stop here, and it's a nice picture of Spider-Man, or we could give him a setting. We can draw some other things. Now, Spider-Man in the comics and in the movies is based in New York City. So I imagine there'd be a lot of people here. So if I want, I can imagine he's dangling over people's heads, and I can draw maybe people just walking around the city and how they might react to seeing Spider-Man. This guy looks kind of surprised. Maybe he's wearing a hat, a very long hat. He's got a little bit of hair in here. And he's like, oh man, I can't believe I'm seeing Spider-Man right now. That's crazy. I wish I had my phone with me. Or maybe someone does have their phone with them and they're so distracted, maybe they didn't even notice Spider-Man was hanging right above her. So she's just checking her email. She'd be wearing a jacket. She's looking at her phone. She's not watching where she's going. She missed probably the coolest thing she's ever going to see in her life. Or you could actually add some background elements. Maybe he's dangling above the street, so I can draw my line for the ground. Have some straight lines here, all kind of pointed towards Spider-Man to show kind of like a sidewalk. Maybe I could have some buildings here. If it's in the city, buildings might be pretty close together. And I could just draw these with some simple rectangles, some squares with straight lines in them to represent windows. Your background or your setting doesn't have to be really, really detailed. It could be as detailed or as simple as you want it to be. If you're not sure what, the inside of a city looks like, or the inside of a house looks like, or what does the inside of a cave look like, that's always something you could do a Google image search for. Just make sure you have a grown-up with you to make sure you're searching the internet safely. So if Spider-Man was here in the city, I could think of some other things that might be around. There could be a fire hydrant over here. There might be some light poles. Also excellent for swinging off with your spider webs. Not drawing a very successful light pole here. But there we go, a nice little picture of Spider-Man in the city. If you've drawn Spider-Man yourself, maybe you've put him in a different kind of setting. He could be in the jungle, he could be inside of Dave & Buster's, maybe he's swinging on the playground or in your living room. Go ahead and send those pictures to me on Class Dojo. I'll put them up in the next video. And if you have any ideas for something you'd like to learn how to draw, please comment below, let me know what it is, and I'll try to make a video for you in the coming weeks. Once again, this is Mr. Shaw. Have a wonderful day, stay safe, wash your hands, and I'll see you next time.